All right, hey everybody, meteorologist Scott Connell here with Tracy Hinson in the Weather First Weather Center tonight. 5 on your side, keeping you updated on what's going on with these thunderstorms. Yes, we have them building out to the west of us. Most of it is just outside the 5 on your side area. It looks like we even have a new tornado warning that was just issued south of California, Missouri. Not in our area, but again, parts of mid-Missouri. So definitely an active night weather-wise across the bi-state area. And it's just beginning to unfold right now. So this is what we're looking at here. We have multiple warnings that are in play here as you go back just outside of Gasconade County. So this is just west of the 5 on your side area. And, you know, we've got flooding, we have severe weather, and, yeah, a tornado threat even in there as well. So we're kind of zoomed in here. Let's just go back one notch and let me show you what it looks like as we get closer to St. Louis so you can kind of get the broader perspective here. We are looking at this scenario that's playing out where at this point you have a boundary that's kind of in play around St. Louis stretching back into mid-Missouri, and the air south of that's really warm, really humid, and you're pulling that up over this boundary. So you're set up tonight for not only the potential of severe weather, but also the potential of flash flooding. And really, we think in St. Louis, flash flooding is going to end up being the biggest of the threats that we deal with. So we have some showers pushing into the metro right now. Nothing around Metro St. Louis screams we have a problem at this point. What's back in mid-Missouri here is screaming we have a problem. All right, and it's a pretty significant problem that's ongoing with severe weather and also the potential that we're looking at some rotation in these storms. So we're going to stop this now. This is just starting to push into Gasconade County. The hail and the severe part of this storm that's back here in Osage County is pretty close. It's south of Jeff City now, but near Wardsville, which is kind of on the way. That exits, you know, just south there right on Highway 54 as you're going towards the Lake of the Ozarks. You pass that exit just south of Jeff City. That's the area we're talking about here where they've had the larger hail. Most of that looks like it's going to miss Gasconade County, but there's also a flash flood warning for that area. And that's because this heavy rain is falling over the same areas that saw a tremendous amount of rain last night. Now, that's not the only thing. There's another severe thunderstorm and flash flood warning here a little farther to the west. And this tornado warning, this is really a combination. There are 3 warnings in effect right now. But Montauk County, the tornado warning, that's until 9:15. We have the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect in this area. Let's see if it'll click over for me. It just doesn't want to click on that, but we're going to try. The flash flood warning. So you've got flash flood, severe thunderstorm, and a tornado warning all together on one storm. That's a lot. All right, so this is starting to push into the 5 on your side area. It's coming at us from the west. And our thinking at this point is that we're going to see an increase in the showers and thunderstorms around St. Louis as we head through the remainder of the evening hours. The greatest threat for severe weather looks to generally be to the south and southeast of St. Louis. As you go farther north of St. Louis, you know, we may still see some additional thunderstorms develop up into Pike and Lincoln counties, but we would transition, we would think, more to a flash flooding threat in those areas as we push through time. We go southeast of St. Louis. While it's pretty quiet right now across southeast Missouri, southern portions of Illinois, you are getting quite the light show back to the north and west. So again, what we've seen is everything that was north of 70 has tended to fade, and now we're starting to flare things up along and south of 70. So this southward trek will keep most of the initial wave of severe weather, we think, west and southwest of St. Louis, but not by very much. And we could still get some stronger storms in the metro area as well. More concerned here with the potential that we're dealing with heavy rainfall and the problems that might be associated with that. This is one of the computer models, and you see some of the numbers associated with that. They're pretty atrocious, over 6 inches in spots. Okay, we go into, you know, another version of this. We've added in a different contour, and you see that the focus kind of shifted a little farther south and southwest of St. Louis. Still flirting with the metro area, but not necessarily in the immediate St. Louis area. Flirting with us, but not necessarily there. Maybe Eureka, maybe down towards Fenton and southwest from Fenton. And then as you're looking back here towards Union, you may be in the bullseye for 6 to 10 inches of rain. You're no strangers to that kind of stuff out there around Union. So just within the last hour or two, the Weather Prediction Center has updated this flash flood guidance and the excessive rainfall outlook to put our area and just south of literally downtown St. Louis, to include, southwestern St. Charles County, southwestern St. Louis County, all of Monroe County, Jefferson County, Franklin and Warren counties, and then points onto the southwest in that narrow ribbon in a high risk for flash flooding as we go through the overnight hours into early tomorrow. The other area that we're watching is the severe thunderstorm watch, and that now encompasses much of the 5 on your side area. It does include all of St. Louis, though if we had to bet, we'd say southwest of St. Louis is going to be your most likely area to see substantial severe weather. Most likely. Not saying we won't get it in the metro area, but most likely. All right, so this is what we have with the flash flood watch, or the flood watch, which is in effect for flash flooding. It does include St. Louis. Watch this Futurecast as we go through the evening. This is what's happening right now, and it's pretty darn close, showing these storms bubbling up out to our west and southwest. It is showing through about 10 or 10:30 tonight. And again, this is just one of the many high-resolution models we look at. So one thing to note here, don't marry yourself to exactly what you're seeing with the placement of where these storms are. They may be shifted off time-wise and position-wise. They may be off by 20 or 30 miles or by 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. That's entirely possible. But you get the gist of what's going on here, where we are looking at these intense storms south and southwest of St. Louis initially. Then, once this first wave passes by after midnight, we're thinking we transition into more of a heavy rain threat. Now, we have this updating every hour with a new model run, and this almost skips over St. Louis without much in the way of rainfall. It's kind of showing it to our northeast and to our southwest. We really don't know where those bands of heavy rain that go over the same areas over and over again are going to set up. They could set up to our southwest. They could set up into parts of the metro area, especially, say, St. Charles and western St. Louis County, down into eastern Franklin and northern Jefferson County. That seems pretty probable. Maybe they set up a little farther southwest. Maybe it shifts a little farther north and northeast. Until this evolves in the next couple of hours, I think by 10:30, 11:30 tonight, we'll have a pretty good idea. But this is going to take us into early tomorrow morning, and then it'll start to push away. So that's where we stand right now. Still 78 degrees. If you've been outside this evening, you know that it's a lot more muggy than it was. Our humidity levels are up there. Dew point's 72. Mid-Missouri dew points are actually in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees, which is just flat out miserable. Okay, so we're going to go with heavy rain and thunderstorms in our forecast. The severe weather threat is going to happen. The severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 3 a.m. It'll get trimmed up and pushed on to the south as these clusters of storms evolve and develop over the next 2 or 3 hours. Then we're really going to shift to our focus to being on that potential for heavy rainfall as we go through the overnight into early tomorrow morning. Remember, you do not want to drive into flooded roads. In fact, since we have this high risk of flash flooding, it's very rare that the Weather Service, the Weather Prediction Center, puts out that high risk area. When they do, when they put that out, the high risk area, in general, it's only maybe 2 or 3% of the time, but that's where most of our deaths with flash flooding occur, is when they have one of these high risk areas. But it's very rare that we actually see those high risk areas put up. So we're going to be in our storm alert here as we continue through the overnight hours. Okay, no question about that. The severe weather threat's going to last at least, let's say, through midnight. It may go until 3 o'clock over our far southern counties, down towards Farmington, maybe over, to Sparta and over towards Mount Vernon. Not going to say that that's locked in stone, but that potential is certainly there. Then we transition after that initial severe weather threat into more of a flash flood scenario. And that's what we're going to probably deal with through the overnight hours, is the flash flooding. And that'll be our biggest problem. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this throughout the overnight hours. And you keep checking back here and we'll keep you updated. And we're going to keep the stream going too. Through the overnight hours, we'll have radar, cameras, information scrolling all the time. So, and we'll be here, of course. Tracy Henson's here. Anthony Slaughter's back from a few days off starting tomorrow morning. So we should be in pretty good shape.